The U.S. Supreme Court appears to be split over whether crypto exchange Coinbase should be allowed to send a pair of class action lawsuits to arbitration. Joining us now to discuss the dispute is Sasha Hodder. She's the founder and managing partner at Hodder Law Firm. Sasha, good afternoon. Just off the bat, how might this have an impact on the crypto industry?
Well, yeah, it's actually a really exciting case because the outcome will determine how crypto plaintiffs can litigate and whether terms of service are actually enforceable by companies. So if this, I would be shocked if Supreme Court doesn't rule with Coinbase on this in the end. You know, we'll get the decision in June. But the Supreme Court has traditionally, even before getting packed with the Republican bench, and this is turning into a bit of a political issue, but typically conservatives, they prefer arbitration clauses, and plaintiff attorneys, they say that it doesn't give enough chance for the plaintiff to argue their case. And especially if you can compound several plaintiffs who have had the same kind of grievances, if they're forced to litigate in arbitration individually, they don't get the benefit of the judge hearing about all the other different similar background, and a transparency issue as well. But for a company, you know, they've bargained here for the right to have everything streamlined in an arbitration process, and then the California courts have said, no, we're not going to uphold your terms of service, Coinbase. You've got to deal with this in public in court. And then they've got these class action cases forming and moving forward while they're waiting on this appeal. So it's a difficult position for Coinbase.
Yeah, in terms of how this will impact the crypto industry, it looks like it will impact users of exchanges and their consumer rights when potentially getting exploited by scammers. In terms of justice comments today, what did you find? I'm hearing that it's mixed between Justice Kagan and the more conservative justices on the bench.
Yeah, Chief Justice Roberts, he brought up a good point. He said that Congress has already provided a huge benefit to users by allowing immediate appeals from a denial of arbitration instead of having to wait for a final judgment in the case. So it sounded like he was more siding on the side of Coinbase, saying, you know, there's already options, you know, here, so arbitration makes sense.
In terms of the class action lawsuits against Coinbase, do you have some insights on what those are about?
Yeah, so in one of them, the user got scammed for $31,000 by someone impersonating a PayPal employee. So he gave his Coinbase password to someone who called him on the phone and said that they were from PayPal. So he made a user error. He violated the terms of service where he said he would never give the password out. It's unfortunate, but I don't think there's much Coinbase can do if users willingly give their password to someone. That person logs in and steals money. You know, it's kind of the user's fault for giving their password out. And then the other case, so there's that one moving forward, and they're saying that through the Electronic Funds Transfer Act, Coinbase has a duty to repay money that were stolen through fraud, but that can't be the way that businesses have to operate, that if you give your password out, you know, the company's responsible for it. But then the other situation, someone got duped into paying $100 to enter some kind of sweepstakes that had a prize of 1.2 million of Dogecoin. And it turned out they could have entered that same sweepstakes without paying the $100. Like, they were rerouted to some scam site that took the $100. So, you know, it is always really difficult to watch out for scams, but the companies, you know, if someone's got a phishing website up that looks like yours, but it's not really your website, from Coinbase's perspective, you know, what can they do about that?
And there's so many phishing scams, so many crypto scams out there. But so why has Coinbase been denied arbitration if it's in their user agreement?
You know, the California courts, in the lower courts, the trial courts, they're not fans of arbitration for all the reasons I kind of mentioned earlier. They see it as as being anti-plaintiff, and it doesn't give the plaintiff a fair shake at whatever their complaint is in arbitration. But that's just not the case. Arbitration is designed just to be a more streamlined way to handle the issues. It's usually cheaper for a plaintiff, unless it's a class action where, you know, they're doing it on a contingency fee. Arbitration doesn't work on contingency fees. But in general, the arbitration is, you know, a fair and partial judge that looks at the facts and the law.
Yeah, certainly a lot less cheaper than all this litigation. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward and what this means for consumer protections for folks using crypto exchanges and other crypto platforms. But, you know, folks, just goes to show centralized exchanges, be aware, be wary, and take care of falling for scams. Anyway, Sasha, thank you so much for joining us. That was Hodder Law Firm Managing Partner Sasha Hodder.